Welcome back from the hoop house. It is November 10th. We're just getting around to doing our transplants. We talked about a little bit about that in the Peter Rabbit episode. We are working on a type of kale called Black Magic. We had a special request this year for a Toscano style kale. It's not one that we normally grow, not one I've done in the past. However, a really good customer, longtime supporter, has asked that we add it to our grow plan schedule and experiment with it a little bit. This is, you can see it a little bit there. It is an upright kale. The other variety that we grow is Darkabor. It grows more like a palm tree. As you shed the leaves, it grows out of the center and gets taller. The Toscano does the same thing. However, instead of curly leaf kale, this is more of a long ripple leaf type kale. I'll pop a picture of it somewhere in the video, and I'll leave a link to the one that we're growing for those of you that are interested in the description. But we're doing these in 50-foot rows, 18 inches between the two rows and 18 inches between plants, and they are off-centered or offset all the way down, so staggered. Gives the plants a little more room. For this style kale, that's probably overly generous, but we already had this weed mat made and it's our first year growing. So once we get a better look at exactly how it flowers out with its leaves, I'll have a better idea of exact spacing and how we can apply that to our market garden. Over here to the left, we'll give you a look at that real quick. All the way down is Darkabor kale. This kale is a large curly leaf. This is the one that you're accustomed to getting from us at market or from our store vendors, like Coastal Community Market here in Beaufort. We sell it by the bundle, and one 50-foot bed will put off around 500, 600 bundles in a year. It is a long grow for us. We typically set mid-September. As you heard in the Peter Rabbit episode, we had some problems with that. We're now getting reset. We're going to cover it with some ProtectNet, and hopefully we'll be ready to go by the spring. But normally it's in the ground for 9 months. After the first 75 to 90 days, we can start harvesting a few leaves here and there. And then by the time it hits about 120 days in the ground, it produces really, really heavy. And we normally take it out in June. That's primarily a space issue, but also by that point, the kale bushes have become trees. They're about 3 foot tall. They're starting to kind of fall over in various ways and directions. And in addition to that, June is typically when the aphids show up. There are ways to deal with aphids on kale, like strip all the leaves back and treat the stalk and the head of the plant very heavily with neem. You can use dish soap and water. There's various different ways to treat the aphids. However, by June, the kale's kind of gone bitter because of the heat. Like I said, they're over 3 foot tall and they're falling over. Even with a good root mass, they tend to get a little top heavy and start leaning and falling into each other. But at that point, it's time to rotate them out. Last year, our Darkabor was in the next hoop house over, so this year we're rotating them into this one. As I told you a few minutes ago, we're running Black Magic kale in here as well, and we'll also have 1 round of cauliflower and a little bit of broccoli. Thanks to Peter Rabbit, our successions have been decimated, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. When we were first really building out the market garden here, one of the things we did was visit another farm in another part of the state, Honey Tree Farm, Casey and Tori, and we spent a day working with them, and they were generous enough to allow us to pick their brain for just a little while. And one of the things that I asked them about was crop planning, and that's where I learned that not all crop plans work out the greatest. And she was 100% right when she said that as soon as you make the plan, you'll have to remake it. And that's what's happened here. Don't take that as not having a crop plan or not having a rotation, because that's not true at all. Just means be prepared to shift gears in an instant because things like Peter Rabbit happen. Sometimes you get beds that don't germinate well. You know, carrots and beets will do that to you all the time. So you can have a general plan, but have a backup plan. You know, if a carrot bed fails, run radishes right behind it. You know, make up for that lost time. Run turnips right behind it. Something that'll come out in the same time frame as those carrots were allotted originally. This was a little more detrimental to us with Peter Rabbit, mainly because it takes so long to get these particular plants up and going, like as starts, and then so long for them to reach a state of maturity where they can begin to develop and put off their crown, or put off, you know, leaves that we can start harvesting. And it's in the winter, you're losing daylight every day up into the solstice, you know, December 20th. So our days are getting shorter very rapidly, and we go under 10 hours of daylight, I think, within the next week. It's somewhere between the 20th of November and the 1st of December, I think, somewhere in that range. We drop under 10 hours a day, which means growth pretty much comes to a standstill. It just creeps along after that. So the best advice is always have what you want done before Veterans Day. So we're kind of squeezing some stuff in. We have a conference to go to here shortly, so I'm out here early this morning trying to get these transplants done. We have the rest of this black magic. We've got some cauliflower and some broccoli, and if I have time, we've got a row of lettuce transplants to get to. So let's get to it.